Have you ever witnessed a real scientific discussion live? I had the chance to participate in one yesterday. I prepared a presentation on DNA methylation, a difficult topic. I went on for half an hour, but it went well. Last slide. Thank you for your attention. Does anyone have any questions or comments? The atmosphere in the room loosened up a bit. Associate Professor Anderson spoke up. With all due respect, Mr. Anon, he began. In my opinion, your presentation contains a number of errors. Firstly, DNA methylation began. I felt like I was walking downstairs and missed a step. My heart froze, then accelerated to 120 beats per minute. Anderson systematically pointed out all the weaknesses of my presentation. I have the impression that you have only read reviews from 15 years ago, and even that superficially. Do you even distinguish between DNA methylation and histone methylation? Associate Professor, I stammered awkwardly. This was the end. Defense was impossible. All my effort was in vain. The sun set behind the clouds, and with it, the hope of passing the seminar. I had failed and lost. Unexpectedly, my advisor, Professor Thompson, took the initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, he addressed the gathered audience, we have all undoubtedly heard Associate Professor Anderson's pathetic ramblings. But how can we take them seriously when Associate Professor Anderson, as is widely known, has a tiny, flaccid dick and likes to admire male genitalia? A murmur of approval swept through the auditorium. People nodded, agreeing with the professor's words. Professor? Anderson bristled, enraged. What the hell does that mean? What does the length of my member have to do with DNA methylation? And male penis is redundant. Do you know any female penises? You're insulting a scientific discussion. You insult it yourself with your ugly face, Associate Professor Anderson, Thompson retorted. Regarding male penises, yes. I know one owner of a female penis. You, Associate Professor, because you're a goddamn pussy. You also asked what the length of your little wiener, which you grandiosely called a member, has to do with DNA methylation? Well, it's that you were chugging smuggled vodka. It methylated your dick, stopping its development at 3 cm. The audience roared with laughter. I watched the scene in astonishment. Anderson turned red as a beet. Thompson, without embarrassment, pulled out a cigar, lit it, and took a satisfying drag. Someone in the room yelled, "Bravo, Professor Thompson! Who let this moron in here? Get Anderson out! Get him out! Get him out!" The associate professor turned even redder. He walked up to Thompson and with a growling voice began to taunt him. So what, I wasn't there? I have some deficiencies? What about you, Professor, huh? Thompson, more like no dick son. Old impotent. Can't even think about banging without Viagra. Look at him. The cigar he pulled out. Probably has complexes. You like putting long, thick things in your mouth, don't you? Professor Thompson took a drag from his cigar. He blew the smoke directly into his adversary's face. Probably your dad, Associate Professor, he retorted. Mr. Anon, he then turned to me. Please hit Associate Professor Anderson with a verbal torpedo. The agitated audience was pointing at us with interest. Anderson was already compromised, and it was up to me to deliver the final aesthetic blow. The audience was expecting a brilliant verbal thrashing. My advisor looked at me with hope. Anderson tried to murder me with his eyes. I straightened up. I looked him straight in the eyes, and I uttered, "You asked Associate Professor Anderson what I know about methylation. I know everything, you fucker. And what do you care what sources I used, because you can't even read anyway. If you didn't like my ramblings about DNA methylation, then you can kiss my ass. Or suck my dick, just like you like it. Your work is fundamentally flawed. It's absolute garbage. It's rock bottom. Plus 3 feet of mud. Dog shit. And you know what? What? I replied reflexively. 100 dicks to you." The auditorium laughed. I pretended to play dumb like a child. Anderson smiled, triumphantly, certain of victory. The professor, unperturbed, smoked his cigar. He nodded in approval. I riposted, "In your ass!" Associate Professor Anderson. Just like you like it. An ovation erupted. Anderson tried to retort, to add something, to defend himself, to attack. But the crowd wouldn't let him speak. "Get out! Get out!" The poor associate professor had nowhere to hide. He sat down in his seat. He shrunk into himself. And though it seemed impossible, he turned even redder. He covered his face with his hands. "I don't believe it!" I triumphed. I had won the scientific discussion. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Sensible ones for a change. Yes, one of my colleagues in the room chimed in. Can methylation within introns also affect the efficiency of gene transcription? I smiled. More and more questions began to pour from the audience, and I answered, fully consistent with my knowledge. Profit.